So welcome. It is CyberBuzz Radio. My name is Crimson Clad. Hi, good to see you guys. I am, everything is wild today. Let's be realistic. I did not brush my hair. So for those of you who are just listening to the audio experience, you won't have any problems. But for those of you who happen to be here, who do like to watch along with the video feed, yeah, I'm rocking the Merida hair today. I look insane. Please just deal with it. So listen, my name is Crimson Clad, and on Saturdays I am here and I talk a little bit about disruptive tech and the Hive blockchain and, you know, the retro future. We play good synthwave music. We have a lot of fun. And I was not here last week. I was not here last week because we had a scheduled power outage, and the week before I had COVID. I got the Rona. I couldn't outlive the plague forever. What a disaster. What a complete disaster. I saw La Pasta was here for a second and then immediately ran away. So that's sad, but I had you. I had you until I lost you. So listen, today, as per usual, I know people will probably filter in slowly. They'll make their way here, or they won't. They may not. But we'll see what we end up talking about today. We'll see where we end up landing on for topics, because of course I know that everyone and their dog is losing their ever-living mind about what's going on around the Twitterverse and whether or not that affects you. No big deal. But so, you know, we have options. We've got options about what we can talk about today. And of course, there's stuff happening around Hive that I know a lot of people are really interested in. And of course, that might be the fact that that indeed, Elon has been talking a lot about buying Twitter. And, you know, on the other side of things, people are like, well, stable coins are where it's at. And over on the Hive side of things, interest for HBD has gone up to 20%. And that has made some people very, very happy. And it's made some people very, very angry. And some people really don't give a fuck about Hive. And isn't that always the way? So, you know, if it ends up being a small crowd today, no big deal. We'll just chat and listen to music. But if more people wander on in and we want to shape the conversation as we go, then we can do that. The dogs aren't here. You're very happy that you're angry. Listen, embrace it. You want to be angry. Be angry forever. You know, as long as you feel something, Ron. Ah, goodness gracious me. So I'm going to cover up the armlets and the breasticles here because, you know, that's not how we roll on Twitch. Sadly, you should stake it for P-Cub. Yeah, and we can talk a little bit about what's going on around Leo because, of course, Carl with his infinitely awesome ideas. And if you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Carl and we talked everything to do with Leo, from Cub to Polycub to, you know, what's happening on the Leo finance front end. We talked about all of that and it was a great interview. So if you want to find that, you can go straight to the YouTube or any of the other places, including on the Hive blockchain, and you can rewatch that, re-listen to it, you know, heckle me, tell me I'm stupid, whatever. Soon. So that's kind of where we're at today. And we'll give people a moment to wander on in and bring their questions and their comments and whatever. But we will cover up some of the body yaddy today. Did I get COVID armpit? No. Thank God for that. I know you just want me to smell my armpits, but so far so good. Armpits are all right. Body is okay. Well, as okay as being a fat girl can be. So yeah, good. So far, I have not succumbed to anything horrific because of COVID. You were aware of long COVID. Yeah. So, I mean, I still notice some things, like people that I know out in the real world, in the meat sack world, say that I still sound different. Now, you guys come to a lot of shows. You might be able to tell. I can't. Does my voice still sound different to you? Because to a lot of people in the real world, they're saying that I still sound a little weird. I think I sound fine, you fucks. Normog's here. Hi, Mr. D. Breeze is hopping in. Mariano, hi. If I haven't said a direct hello to you, it's because I'm a douchebag, and I'm used to that. Are we discussing the virtues of anti-Semitism this Holy Week? No, sorry, I'm not going to slam on anyone. So I know that's a big disappointment. Everybody only comes to the shows looking for the drama. But no, not really. Not at all, actually. So yeah, we'll we will adapt through the topics that we need to adapt to, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so I don't think I have long COVID. Thank fuck for that. My anus is okay, just to catch everybody up on that topic that everyone loves to come back to. So we're through that. And yeah, so today I thought we would talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on around the Hive ecosystem, just because obviously stablecoins and interest are one of those things that people lose their fucking minds about. And, let's be realistic. Nobody gives a shit about Hive beyond the people on Hive. And it's, can we make them do so? I don't know. Now, you may have noticed that 20% interest came about, maybe not suddenly, but there was some discussion and more people were talking about it. And it was how can we make Hive more attractive? And in a lot of cases, there are probably like 2 or 3 groups of people that want to use Hive. And some of them are the ones that really, really love free speech. And there actually was an article that came out, which we haven't figured out where it came from yet, which is kind of cool to see. And it was on Crypto News. So I'll see if you guys, I don't know if you've seen this yet and can show you that, but let me grab the link here. And, somebody actually wrote an article about Hive being one of the only free speech blockchains around, which I think is fairly interesting. Fairly interesting. Good Lord, I can't speak. I haven't even started drinking yet. Fairly interesting. And, on this show, it often comes up as a topic that makes everybody lose their absolute cheese and yell about it. But here's the article. It's interesting for sure, because in a lot of ways it's absolutely true. But for a lot of people who are around the Hive blockchain, of course, they absolutely don't believe that there's any free speech and that everyone's mean and the whole thing's flawed. And that's any ecosystem that you participate in. So we could talk a little bit about that today. We could talk about whether or not you feel that high stablecoin interest, whether it's in Hive or outside of Hive, is actually sustainable, because every now and again, we do pretend to talk about crypto on this show. And for what it's worth, as a consensus witness myself, Jeff and I, part of being in a partner consensus witness means I don't just have to have consensus or add my voice to consensus for the whole blockchain. I also have to come to consensus with my partner on what we want to do. And for me, 20% to me feels like the debt ratio is going to swing a little too wildly. And I would like to see something in a more middling ground that can stay longer term sustainable. So I would like to see something around 15%. That's my personal thoughts on it. Now, one of the interesting things about crypto stablecoins and about yield farming and about all the shit that's out there that many of us just don't truly understand well enough, is that it's the same question that we've often had around Hive and that people often freak out about. Hey, dudeness! And that is, where is the money coming from? How does this work? And, where does the new HBD liquidity come from? Well, there you go. See, Patient Zero's asking it the second it comes up. And so this is the question. It's a struggle with crypto all the way around, isn't it? Where does the money come from? Because, of course, everybody thinks this is straight up magic internet beans. We're growing them, we're slinging them, we're trading them. They mean nothing. What is it? The game's made up and the points don't matter. So, yeah, that's so. Look, everybody's got an opinion on it in chat, and that's great. So we'll start here. So the debt limit is something that it's been a long time since we've talked about. So maybe we should talk a little bit about the idea of debt ratio as it functions on the Hive blockchain, just to do a little catch up. So when the blockchain is working properly and when the debt ratio is under a certain amount, the blockchain is printing both HBD and Hive. So what the hell is HBD? Well, it's Hive-backed dollars. And what that means is when you get those, right, you can trade them in at any time for Hive. That's what they are. They are sort of like an IOU. One Hive-backed dollar can always be traded back to the blockchain, and trade is a bad word in the crypto space. You can always use that HBD in the blockchain to get $1 worth of Hive, right? So it doesn't equal $1 worth of Hive, but that's what the blockchain will give to you when you use the blockchain's marketing functions, right? Now, trading it above and beyond, his dudeness says, no, you cannot, no. Okay, my man, We start on a very basic level here, right? Now, the reality is of course, we have outside markets as well. And that really complicates things. And that's always been very, very problematic. So I'm going to make everybody angry 14 seconds into the show. My God, that's got to be a new record for sure. But so HBD has always kind of been a struggle for people because understanding the way the HBD impacts the rest of the ecosystem is problematic. Where does it come from? Where does it go? Because you could trade it to other people and it still exists. Or you can actually, what is the essential? Oh God, look at this. Angry face, angry face. I would love to know how you want to explain it, his dudeness. It's fine. I'm working for Putin. I'm spreading misinformation. God, you guys, you can't say this because the last week when I did a show talking about having COVID, YouTube actually put a fucking warning on my video. And it actually said that you can it's a peg, enough said. Well, because that's the reality though. Oh God. We're going to end up talking about HBD this whole thing. I mean, yes, I agree with what you're saying, but the problem is to keep peg, we have to do a lot of fucking work. And so in a lot of ways, it's not a true properly pegged stablecoin either. And that's the real muck of it, isn't it? So let's roll it back and pretend that sometimes this show is both interesting and informative when often it is neither. Where I'm going with this is, as there is enough HBD floating around out in the atmosphere, and it is roughly pegged to $1, eventually there is this thing called the debt ratio. And the debt ratio says, hey, listen, if every single person who had some HBD right now decided to burn that HBD and get Hive, however you want to describe that transaction. If everybody wanted to cash in their HBD and do that conversion and get liquid Hive, you only have 3 or 4 likes per YouTube video, so it's not like you're going to miss any money. Oh, who's throwing some fucking shade? Good Lord. How rude. Did I even mention a YouTube video? My God. No, I don't. The reality is I never tell people to like and subscribe on my YouTube. I never ask people to go watch YouTube. I never make you leave Discord or Twitch or Twitter or Vim or Trovo or Theta. So if you don't want to go and like my YouTube video, that's fine. Go fuck yourself. I don't do this for money. Oh my God. Wow. Hi, Askus. Good to see you again. The reality is this is like my whole Hive journey. Let me just break it down for you. The amount of hours that I have put into Hive and the amount of hours that I put into this fucking radio show and all of my radio shows, if I was billing at my regular job hours, oh my God, do you think the YouTube pennies would come close? Absolutely not. Listen, I don't gather you guys here to talk to you, to entertain you. And in many cases, I don't bring you here to wring any more dollars out of you. So there you go, Normok. I'm sorry. I'm not living up to the to the proper Semitic standards. But that's the reality. I don't bring you here to do that. So, all right. Everybody's going to roast me. I see what it is. I'm just here for the money. I am disgustingly rich and I'm going to become a Hive oligarch. That's what it is. Look at Dudeness is like, oh my God, go back to HBD. Oh God. Why am I here? Why am I not enjoying my Easter long weekend? What do you fucking people want from me? My God. It's a disaster. Krim, I've never accused you of being Eastern European. I know, but the joke is that I am. My family literally are Ukrainian immigrants. We are full on Eastern Bloc. Joke's on you, man. Let's just take a minute. It's just, you know what? I'm gonna grab. I want a solid explanation of what the peg is. Well, I was going to talk about debt ratio. And then I was going to talk about why I didn't want a super high interest. I wanted a middling interest. But apparently we're not doing that. Apparently we're just, I don't know what we're doing. I'm crypto Eastern European. Is that different? I don't know, man. I'm not sure. All right. So let's just hit the booze early on. let's rewind. Let's go back. Way back. Let's just go back to a time when people didn't come solely to this show to crush my heart. It's fine. It's fine. So where I was going with this. You want to explain crypto Eastern European, let me on air. Maybe towards the middle of the show when we run out of things to talk about or people want to start roasting me again. HBD. The debt ratio. He's not even talking about that. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, some days I have shows where I realize how much I really hate you guys. The debt ratio. HBD as a debt instrument. Let's try and get through this singular topic for about 30 seconds. HBD is out there, right? The debt ratio is when everybody and all the HBD that is out liquid and is in existence in liquid in people's hot little hands, whether it's in savings or not in savings. If everybody were to convert that HBD all at once, do we have enough liquid Hive to do it? Is there enough Hive in existence to cash in that IOU on a conversion? That's the debt ratio in a nutshell. How much does that HBD roughly represent out of the totality of the existing liquid Hive? If we had to cash all those little HBD IOUs in at once, could we do it? And if we did do it, how much of the total amount of liquid HBD is represented by, liquid Hive is represented by HBD? We want to keep those two in a good ratio. That's where the debt ratio comes from. And so up to this point, it really was the 10% mark. We never wanted more than roughly 10% of the totality in HBD. That was what we always shot for. And so this affected the print rate on the blockchain. And so it's been a long time since we've talked about this, but people often ask, well, hey, when I am getting my payouts on my posts, how come sometimes I do get HBD and how come sometimes I don't? And that's because the blockchain is always keeping track. The blockchain is always keeping track, and the blockchain always makes the assumption that an HBD is worth $1 worth of Hive. So that rough peg, however it's held, when the blockchain thinks, when the blockchain does all the virtual operations, when the blockchain is, going by the rules that it has that makes it a blockchain, when it's paying out posts and it's paying out rewards, it's always looking at that ratio. It's always looking at the debt ratio. How much HBD is around and how much naughty bot thinking it's $1. Well, it's our own fault for opening this up to outside markets. Will HBD fall to 20 cents again? Maybe. Could fall to 20 cents, could go to $20. Neither of those things are likely, but I will never say no to you. So let's get through this part. The blockchain is always thinking, well, listen. Yeah, Blue Robo, we'll get there because this is sort of my thought process as well. The blockchain's always going, paying out posts, checking on the HBD, checking on the ratio. And you guys know we have that haircut rule as well. But for somebody new to Hive, this is a pretty confusing process. So as that debt ratio climbs, as there's more and more HBD that's being held, no one's converting it. They're holding it. They want to get interest. They're holding on to it. So there's more and more and more HBD that's piling up. And the blockchain's going, okay, I see it. There it is. Yeah, lots of HBD. Okay. But it's also watching that HBD compared to the ratio of liquid Hive. That's the debt ratio. Now, before, the blockchain was always looking, are we close to 10%? Are we close to 10%? And the closer we got to 10%, the blockchain would then, between 9 and 10%, the blockchain had something called the haircut rule, and it would start changing the way that it paid out posts, right? This is a pretty standard Hive thing that for a lot of people is confusing as fuck. The more HBD is just sitting around and not being converted into Hive, the higher the debt ratio goes, and the blockchain says, whoa, better not print any more HBD. We have too much HBD. In fact, I'm going to stop printing HBD. And that is what happens between 9 and 10%. The blockchain prints a little bit less HBD and pays you a little bit more Hive. And when you hit 10%, it stops and it pays you only in Hive. And that's it. And it's kind of a supply and demand sort of thing, looking at it from a blockchain point of view. Well, the newest change here now is that we have kicked up the interest that is available to you if you want to hold HBD. So let's think a little bit about what's the logical thing that's going to happen here. Hey, if you hold HBD, you can make more interest. And in fact, you can make 20% interest just holding on to your HBD. And you can have it paid out once a month. That's pretty fucking good. In today's world, what type of sort of real world meat sack fiat style investment vehicles do you have that pay 20%? Real talk. Do you have anything else? Breeze won't help you now. Do you have anything in your life that is consistently providing 20% returns? I mean, it's a good question. I sure fucking don't. I don't know about you guys. Like, I wish, but absolutely not. So, for a lot of people, that's going to be really, really attractive, especially a lot of people. Right. So we're all going to hoard HBD. Because why not? Free money. Now, when we're talking about that interest, 20% per month or 20% per year divided by the months, it's basically continued compounding. You can basically every month you can claim it. So it's like whatever you would do with your bank, they give you the yearly APR, but you're constantly compounding inside that year period. Does that make sense? Right? Hand rubbing ensues. That's right. Here, Normok's not watching, but I'll do some hand rubbing ASMR for you. Here you go. Rubbing. So just like a bank, except it doesn't just happen on the 1 year mark. At the end of the year, you just get 20%. You actually get it for every 30 days. So that's great for you. It's great for people. But yes, all right. So everybody's going to be hoarding HBD because you want to earn a little bit extra. Well, that printed HBD for interest on the side, it's just its own thing. It doesn't actually come out of the reward pool distribution. And that's what for a lot of people we're used to. We're used to the traditional inflation schedule, which is decreasing. We're used to the money that comes out of the Hive blockchain is in the reward pool, and it gets divided up to block producers, and it gets divided up to post authors, and it gets divided up to, So we're really fucking around with this now. We've got a lot of HBD that has the potential to be printed. And so, of course, the more HBD that is getting printed, the quicker we hit the debt ratio. And Blue Robo mentioned this earlier. So what do you have to do then to actually allow this to take off a little bit? Because if you start printing, or if you start holding a lot more, so 1,000 HBD gives you 200 HBD X per month if you're holding HBD. Absolutely. You toss it in your savings account and it makes you money. It's pretty fucking simple. And it feels good, man. Feels good. If you haven't tried this out, if you are on the Hive blockchain and you're one of those people who just gets a lot of HBD and then doesn't do anything with it, throw it in your savings. I mean, there is Geek Girl Jen does some great reports kind of talking a little bit more about what's happening with HBD, who's holding it, who's making the most interest, who's moving it, selling it. She pulls some pretty interesting reports if you want to kind of poke around. This just doesn't even seem possible. Well, and that's the thing, Patient Zero. This is crypto in a nutshell. If you look, this is actually still pretty conservative. Across the crypto space, there are insane APRs, whether you're yield farming or what chain you're on. And some of these chains are promising numbers that are absolutely bonkers. And one of the big problems we have in the crypto space is that people feel like they didn't get in early enough. How many times have we heard that? Not even just on Hive, but across the board, right? How many times have we heard, well, if you didn't get in like the first day, second day, third day, fuck it, it's already over. And it's this sort of intense FOMO. It's this intense speed. Everything goes so quickly that it's really difficult for people, A, to understand, B, to actually get into, and C, when you're looking from the outside in, it simply seems like a scam. You have been told your whole life there's no such thing as free money. You've been told your whole life that is something is too good to be true, that it must not be true. And you've been told your whole life that banks are going to fuck you. So how realistic could it possibly be to have these insane numbers? 20% isn't that insane in the crypto space. But of course, as we've just determined here, talking to everybody, that is something that is not happening to you in real life. And you don't have a vehicle to collect on an investment like that in real life. So I guess my question becomes to you guys, just as users around the Hive blockchain and the randoms who are starting to filter in on the other, streaming options, is 20% enough? Is 20% too much? And as people in the crypto space, is 20% kind of blowing up our numbers and still not enough to compete? Because that's the idea. It's an idea of, well, we want to bring more value in here. We want to capture more value, and we want more people. More! That's right. More! We want to capture more eyeballs, more value, more investment, and more speculation. So is 20% enough to go out to the rest of the crypto space and be like, come on in. Water's fine. Earn a little bit. Very safe. Because one of the biggest and most attractive things about this is there are no smart contracts. There are no third-party companies who are facilitating this. On a lot of these other DeFi projects, you are running through a yield farm. You're running through another company that's, operating and making liquidity pools. You are joining into a smart contract so you can actually be part of, providing liquidity. There are all these things that are happening in the outside of the ecosystem where these giant APRs are. And all of these things are actually pretty dangerous, especially when you're interacting with smart contracts, right? So one of the most amazing things about Hive is that you are not susceptible to any of those problems. Is it enough to say, hey, listen, no questions asked, 20% interest, completely safe, your keys, your coin, reasonable APR, come on in? Is that enough when you have, say, DeFi projects which are suggesting you'll get 2,000% APR, but you gotta buy the liquidity token and put it into the pool, and you're consistently managing fees and all this other stuff? What do you think for you personally is more attractive? Now, given that you're already on Hive, I think I probably know the answer. But this is a really important question to ask before we continue to fuck with these mechanics. What are the plans to show people how valuable this is? Because just keeping this amongst ourselves is well and good. Many people in the blockchain are going to be pretty fucking happy about this. But the reality is rising tide lifts all boats. And we know one of the biggest struggles that we've had thus far is bringing more people to Hive. Is 20% interest in a relatively safe environment. Is that enough? I don't know. I'm very curious about this. And so for myself, I'm looking at this as everybody internally is going to continue to hoard HBD now. Everybody is going to want to earn this interest. And as such, we're going to have to change that debt ratio because we are going to hit it a lot faster. So how do we feel about that? What if the debt ratio goes much higher? And what if we see massive price fluctuations? There's a lot of sort of economic factors at play, and that's pretty wild. So I'm taking a quick peek here. How does that HBD USDC farm offer 60%? Any farm or any sort of DeFi or swap site that can offer higher APR is essentially cutting you in on transaction fees. So anytime you go through Sushi Swap. What's the one on Polygon? Is it the one that uses Matic? I don't know. But even if you're involved in Leo Finance, it's the same sort of things. If you're using Cub DeFi, which is, the Cub token is native to Hive and has been bridged to a number of chains, and especially right now, the big thing that's going on that we did the interview was Polygon, a Polygon bridge, Polycub. But the reality is every time you make a trade, every time you buy out, every time you pull your liquidity early, there are fees for that. And those fees are broken up and they are distributed to other people who are using those pools and those farms. Those fees go back to obviously the platform itself. And then also some of those fees, yes, okay, Leo is native to Hive, Cub is not. And that's, you know what, that's a good point. I don't know as much as I should about it, but you're right. Leo is the originating token. Cub DeFi is built on Polygon? Yes? No? Cub, or what Cub was, all I know is Cub and Leo cross BSC. They cross Polygon. They cross, what was that other one that was like, there was a couple of IDOs as well. I think there was fucking Cake Pop, or I don't know. There's a lot. BSC and now Polygon. Yeah, so there you go. I've covered off all the main ones. Cub is BSC, P Cub is called Polygon. Right. There you go. But yes, that's what BSC stands for, Mariano. Binance Smart Chain. You're right. I should probably elucidate on some of this stuff. Anyways, we're getting in the weeds here. The long and the short of it is, how do you feel about this? Because it does seem to be 50-50. Lots of people are like, me, money now, money, me now, a money, me needing a lot now. 20%, let's do it, fam. And the other half are kind of like, but if we do this, is this something sustainable? Because one of the interesting things that we don't necessarily talk about a lot is, and maybe this isn't a bad thing. I'm gonna play a track here as we kind of go into Hive isn't native to Hive. Yeah, Trinkowski, he means that it's a fork of Steam, so technically Hive is, yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. So the question I want to ask, and then I'll play a track, and then, you know, we don't have to talk about economics anymore. We don't have to if you don't want to. Is that knowing that this 20% interest is there. And let's just say lots of people come and start holding and start earning this interest. Well, the debt ratio is impacted. And when we meet the debt ratio, HBD stops printing on posts. How do you think people will feel about that around the ecosystem? Yeah, we've got more people who are buying, holding, because you'd have to buy. If the blockchain stops printing HBD and giving it to you as part of your payouts, how do you get HBD to hold to earn interest? So let's stop and think about this for a second. If you can't get it for free, and I do that in air quotes, for free by posting, if you can't earn it as part of your payouts, you have to buy it. And if you have to buy it, and there's competition to buy it, that usually means the price on outside markets will go up for free. And if the price on outside markets goes up, we have to do a lot more work to try to maintain the peg. And the more we fuck around with the peg, the more we're using the DHF, and the more we've got proposals, and the more... It is a very interesting scenario. And we've also got people who maybe aren't ready to start converting or buying HBD, who are only familiar with getting it through posting, who are going to feel a little bit disenfranchised. Now, maybe that's not important. I don't know. But I'm curious to know what you think. Let's just imagine for a second that whatever that upper limit, whatever we change, is HBD potato still a thing? I actually don't know. I know that the crypto, whatever his fuck, crypto drive or whatever isn't running it anymore if it is. I don't think so. He kind of lost interest in it because he's not as involved in Hive these days, and there's a lot of interpersonal stuff. So I think he stopped running Potato, or he sold Potato to someone else, or he gave custody of Potato's funds to Lord Butterfly. Who knows? Who cares? It's just a question. Shall we move away from this topic? Now that I've planted the seeds and confused everyone thoroughly, and we've actually learned exactly zero? Probably. Let's do that. So not so much. Yeah, basically. You hear me? So, yes. And so this is a great point too. So Blue Robo, this is sort of the other question that needs to happen is, yeah, HBD prices are going to change. And of course, Hive prices are going to change. That's problematic. If Hive drops very low, all of a sudden, HBD ratios An HBD trying to buy roughly $1's worth of Hive is suddenly going to be able to suck up a lot of Hive or convert into a lot of Hive. It's a mess. There are some really weird interconnected economics here that I think we probably need to explore a little better and are maybe, what's a good word? We're just hoping certain scenarios don't happen, which, maybe is or is not a good way to be mindful of your money. But listen, do your own research. Did the HBD stabilizer proposal go through? I'm sure it will. If it hasn't, it always will, because everybody wants it to. Everybody. You can't see, but I'm doing the air quotes again. Yeah, that's what's going on. We're hoping. So it's an interesting thing because at the core, the blockchain itself doesn't have a proper pegging mechanism. The way that we maintain peg is with other forms of intervention. And yes, it's very, very speculative. That's not a bad thing. I'm not casting shade on this decision. But what I am saying is that I do believe that there are probably a lot of things here that potentially could go sideways. And we can hope they never happen. But we do also have to have a plan for when they inevitably do. That's all. I don't know that humans are excellent at that. In fact, we're pretty fucking shitty at it. So let me play a quick track, and then we'll come back and we'll chat about some other stuff. We can move off of the topic of HBD if we want, since I've already been massively roasted and I'll probably trigger more people. So let's pretend we like hanging out together and have a good show here today. Have any posts shown the math of the HBD compounded interest per month if claimed monthly? Are you talking about like if everybody claiming were to claim? I don't know if anybody actually has tried to look at that. Go look at Jen's posts, because the person that is doing the most in-depth look at what is being paid out and sort of the trajectory of that and where it's landing and which accounts are holding on to the most. I would check out Geek Girl Jen. Geek Girl Jen. Typing. Let me do it here quickly. Geek Girl Jen. Well, I'm never 1,000% sure what PZ means, so I'm always just kind of guessing, and that's part of his charm. Okay, so, and a level up. Is it just Geek Girl? It's not Geek Girl Jen? There you go. See? Everybody knows this blockchain better than me. Why am I even doing a show? Why am I not out in the woods right now? Why am I not being chased by a 6-foot-tall, anthropomorphic, humanized rabbit throwing chocolate at me and yelling the word of Jesus? Questions. I have so many questions. You guys should do the show. Okay, so we're 2 shots in. We're not even halfway through the show. Nothing might happen. She is. And actually on Discord and other places, and I think even on Twitter, she goes by Geek Girl Jen. I don't know. She's nice. I like her. Okay, so let's play a quick track. And then we'll come back and we can yell about whatever else we're going to yell about today. I'm going to play something by Wave Shaper because it's been way too long. And I really, really love Wave Shaper. They're excellent. So we'll do that. I'm going to play a track called The Space Hero, which I guess is what everybody thinks Elon is. Now, I don't really care for Elon. I don't really care about Elon. But I'll tell you, every other Discord server I've been in has just been completely obsessed with the fact that Elon is making these, let's talk about whether it's serious or not when we come back. We'll see what you guys want to do. My name is Crimson Clad. This is CyberBuzz Radio. And on Saturdays, usually I teach you things or we just have a lot of fun talking about weird sci-fi topics. But today we're yelling and we're muddling through poorly explained economic blockchain issues. So whatever. I'm going to play a track called The Space Hero. It can be about whoever you want it to be, okay? Okay. Whee! There you go. Space Hero by Wave Shaper. Hey, my name is Crimson Clyde and this is CyberBuzz Radio. And today we're already just yelling about shit. Hi, Freckly Rage. I don't know that the theta chat is working back and forth. And so I apologize for that. Anarchist set it up for me. And so if it's broken, yell at Anarchist. The dogs are now here. So if you're watching on any of the video feeds, you'll see lovely Lady Lewis, Anne Lewis, and Alexander Murphy. My dogs are named after RoboCop characters. Fight me. I don't fucking care. So before the break, we were talking about HBD, and there was going to be this idea that we'd talk a little bit about print rate and debt ratio and, be a little informative. Well, that didn't happen, but we did kind of discuss the fact that now that HBD is up to 20%, what are the other aspects of the Hive economics that we have to think about that could potentially change as behaviors change around this interest rate? So for me, I would like to see something kind of middling. The difference between 15 and 20% isn't huge, but I would like to see a little bit lower and something a little more long-term until we have something figured out to kind of inevitably be in place should and when crypto markets really swing around. Because of course, if you've ever hung around the Leo server or you've ever been around for when Scaredy Cat Guide used to do his show, you will know that the markets can stay irrational much longer than you can stay solvent. That's probably one of the most valuable lessons I learned in crypto. And, just keep it in the back of your mind because it's not just crypto. The markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Okay, so before the break, I got everybody kind of thinking a little bit about our good friend, everybody's best bud, the Lex Luthor of the real world, Elon Musk. Do you like him? Do you hate him? Do you think he's kind of useless? Who knows? That's probably pretty, it's probably a pretty widespread of opinions. I don't know. Elon to me is like, he's half alien that just doesn't belong here. He's just observing us and pretending to fit in. He's way smarter than most people, and as such, he's both really out of touch with being what it is to be human, and also he fucks with us like we're ants. And that's generally not my bag, personally. But so, here's the deal. I don't care much for Twitter either. I don't care much for Twitter, and I don't care much for Elon Musk. But whether or not you care for either, the entire internet has lost their collective minds because Elon mentioned that he has bought 10% of Twitter and he also would like to buy all of Twitter and take it private. And the reason that he would like to do that is free speech. Well, I don't know. I have a lot of questions and a lot of skepticism because Elon Musk has done this a number of times. Elon will almost always grab something at the forefront of technology. He will start using his influence to talk about it. He plays this very will they, won't they game because of course we know buy the rumor, sell the news. And he is a rumor machine. Elon Musk is a rumor machine. And often what he will do is he will grab whatever is trending and cool in tech. He will talk about it and the inevitable Elon stank will rub off on it and the price will go up. And then he'll just dump. And often he'll tell you he's going to dump, which is maybe the most fun part. Honest to God. Hi, drop the mic. Clay's here. Stevenson, more people are hopping in. It's good to see you. We're yelling today. We're just yelling. Just yelling about stuff and listening to Synthwave. That's my opinion. I'm not necessarily saying it's the truth, but that's my opinion looking in from the outside as a completely disinterested party. That's how I feel about Elon. And often he'll be like, if you don't do the thing I like, I'm going to dump. And then he'll use that as an excuse to dump. And he's made a bunch of money. He's hyped himself up even higher. And he really, frankly, has nothing to lose. He is a machine for this sort of thing. So I kind of feel that personally, I feel that's how he's playing Twitter. Is, he has a mild and passing interest in making Twitter better. But largely, it's a space he has learned he can manipulate expertly, whether it is for people who love him or people who hate him. He has learned the formula to tweet and essentially take over the platform. Whether that's just him being like, sup, or whether that's him talking about this new thing that he wants to build or do. And it's very, very effective. So, I mean, everyone's in the chat here. What do you think? It seems to be split for the few people who are talking. Do you think Elon actually wants to buy Twitter? Do you think he really wants to go through with this and become, you know, the guiding voice to a better Twitter? Or do you think that this is another one of Elon's mega fuckery, sort of entertain me plebs, more money than God, but also can I make more money kind of schemes? That's the side that I tend to fall on. I tend to think that this is not really a serious thing for him, and that he probably can and will pocket a ton of change off this and be kind of meh about the whole thing. So I don't know. I'm curious. So PZ says he wants to. So that's a vote. He wants to buy it and to generate hype for something better. Okay. So you think Elon's new thing is not tech, it is free speech. Fair enough. I'll see if anybody else weighs in here. Trudkowski is the opposite. He says Elon is just trolling the Saudis. Yeah, I truly don't know. Hey, Eileen. So, I mean, I wish we could stop talking about Elon, but like I said, every server I'm in, everywhere I go, you know, if you are on the internet, you will hear about Elon and Twitter. It is simply impossible to avoid. And so, I mean, lucky for me, I don't spend all day on the PC, but it is something that whether or not I like it, it is fairly relevant to what we talk about on this show, because often we've discussed what are the differences between platform and publisher? What are the bounding limits of free speech? What does censorship resistance looks like? Where does blockchain come into play? We've certainly touched on all sorts of topics that are kind of related to this before, and we probably will again. Now, I will say, one of the things that I can also give Elon a very sort of a pat on his, you know, strangely pale back is that he knows how to get people's attentions, as I mentioned. But the biggest thing that I have seen coming out of all of this is he says, I'm going to spend, what was it, $42 billion? I'm going to spend $42 billion. But you know what? If you don't want me, I'll do this with anybody else who wants to jump in. And all of a sudden, you got everybody on the fucking internet shooting their shot. It is ridiculous. You got the fucking complete pariah losers like Justin Sun, and you've got what's his face, Charles from Ada. I don't know, that guy who also sucks. I mean, everybody in the Twitter space is like, I'm coming for it. Like, this is happening. Like, yeah, Elon, you and me. Everybody wants to be Elon's bestie because Elon's putting his influence and his money out there. And it is hilarious. It's hilarious to see who comes out of the woodwork to be like, oh my God, Elon, you and me, let's build. Or like Gab being like, fuck Twitter, just come over here. Like, everybody needs Elon. Elon needs no one. That's an unhealthy relationship. Don't be in a relationship like that. Blue says the way that he sees it is that the environmental assessment for Starbase is dragging along and he is bored out of his mind. You know, I think there's absolutely some truth to that. You know, I've seen only a few small interviews, and we've talked about it on this show before because we did have a show where we basically just kind of charted the trajectory of Elon Musk as the actual Lex Luthor of our world, and like the varying descent into madness that he is following. Hey, Arjun! And so, you know, the way that this is going, it's not too far off. But often he said, like, listen, my brain is always on. It's always talking. It's always thinking. You don't think he's Lex Luthor? I do. Oh, you think he's Tony Stark? I don't. I think he is going to go full evil. I do not believe he is a good guy. Sorry about it. Blue is saying it's neither. He's a millionaire and he has a lot of toys. He's Batman. Everybody wants to be Batman. Batman, I'm Batman. No, I don't think he's that. I truly think he is on the path to becoming Lex Luthor. Sorry about it. I think he's an evil motherfucker. Deep down, everybody secretly has a passing flirtation with being evil. But I feel like he will succumb. He will. I believe it. When we're all eating the bugs that are beamed to us from outer space, remember this day. But yeah. Fucking Elon. Jesus. But yeah, so I think Blue, he's trying to save the world. You know what? I think that you can think you're trying to save the world in a good way and end up being the bad guy. That is, we always come back. Clay, I may as well be on your show now. It's the human condition. We often, what is it? The road to hell? Paved with great intentions. And unfortunately, a lot of the worst things that have ever happened in history were just like, God, I have all the money and I'm really smart and I can fix the world. And if people listen to me, it will be fine, but they won't listen. So I'll just make them listen. And then once they listen, it'll be okay. I'm telling you. If he didn't get those hair plugs, man, if he didn't use those $1 billion for those hair plugs, he would have already been like 3/4 of the way to Lex Luthor. Yeah. Try to save the world by killing it is Thanos. Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen Elon snap yet, so maybe we're okay. Maybe not. All I'm saying is that I feel like Elon could do a lot of harm in his quest to do good. And I feel like, yes, Blue, I agree with you. I think he's bored, which is where I was going with this. Is I saw one interview with him where he said, listen, my brain never shuts up. It's always talking. It's always got ideas. And it's actually exhausting being me. I wish I could sleep more. I wish I could have downtime. I wish I could meditate, but I can't. My brain is Eloning all the time. I heard you like Elon, so we put Elon in my Elon so I can Elon while I Elon. Dog. I mean, that's essentially what's always happening. But the problem with that is every time he starts a new project, every time he thinks up this brilliant idea, the world can't actually keep up putting that idea into play at the same rate that Elon's brain works. And that's going to be a consistent struggle for him. And it is why for probably forever on the side. Yeah, this is sort of my point, Clay, is I don't actually really give a big fuck about him either, but the entire internet is talking about him today. So when in Rome. And he is a meme, but that's powerful because one of the things that we've learned, whether it's through this Ukraine conflict or whether it's through, people who have TDS or whatever, is that memes are more powerful than we give them credit for. And somebody turning themselves into a meme previously, that was a joke. You're a joke. You're going to be constantly referred to as a joke. But these days, as a meme, or yes, a meme lord, you wield incredible power. Memes have become the front line in the fog of war. Memes have become the thing that we giggle about that kind of keep us from taking action, sadly, against the things that the memes are showing us about our lives. It's an interesting dynamic, no doubt. We live in weird times, my friends. Who's a Karen? Am I a Karen? I know a lot of Karens. I feel bad for them. At least 3 of the Karens I know are actual Karens. It's rough. Can you imagine being named before the idea of a Karen ever hit anyone's mind, being named Karen, and then having that be a self-fulfilling prophecy? Brutal. Totally brutal. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Karen started off as a meme, and now it's a real thing. And now I actually describe Karens I know as Karens. That sucks. Wow. Can you imagine being that Karen? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, isn't the original Karen, isn't that Kate from a reality show? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not super caught up on any type of popular culture. I wish I was. But this is about the retro future. Party Ogre, what are your thoughts about HBD being partially backed by Bitcoin? Oh, so we're going back to HBD because that that didn't get talked about enough. True. So, there are a lot of things that people are talking about now. There are a lot of farms. There are a lot of ideas of liquidity pools. Kyle is really excited to create like a $500,000 liquidity pool, which I think is actually brilliant, to be quite honest. If you're going to do this thing, then you may as well fucking do it. Hi, Groff! So, I mean, yeah, we can go in whatever direction you want. We'll take a quick break here because we're at the halfway point of the show. We'll play another track, and then we'll come back and we'll keep talking. But it's the one who called the cops on the little girl selling lemonade. Okay, internet history. I'm learning internet history now. I've always thought it was that terrible Kate plus 8, because isn't that the haircut that we all think of Karen now? Is the front bang and the short back? Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. Yikes. Fucking yikes. Also, that laughing cat is from Vancouver. Now you know. Just FYI. The cat in the meme yelling about the salad and the lady yelling at the cat, that cat is from Vancouver. I know a celebrity. Okay, here, listen. Today, I feel like by the end of the show today, we're going to just be like talking about Karens in space and Elon using HBD to fund meme attacks on Russia. And I'm okay with that, but let's embrace it. So what's a good track to put in here? Let's do something really short. Kavinsky just put out a new album called Reborn and a track called Pulsar. Kavinsky is like, yeah, HBD, Space Karens versus Elon. It's amazing. Elon would only use Doge. Yeah, that's a good point too. See? Listen, you guys should do the show. Let's play a new Kavinsky track, just a shorty, just a little shorty, and then we'll come back and we'll just, I don't know where we'll end up. I'm not sure. It's just been a lot of yelling today, loud noises. It's fine. My name is Crimson Clad. If you guys want to talk about anything in particular, throw it in chat and we will do that. I make no guarantees that it'll be good. This is my long weekend and I am here entertaining you for $0. Okay? Okay, Trinkowski? I'm teasing. I like you, but that was a savage burn. My God, I'm gonna go get some ice for my burn. Huh. Cripes. It's my heart. right, so before this goes on and does something different, let's come back. Hello. Hi, friends. Welcome to CyberBuzz Radio. My name is Crimson Clad, and I'm a mess today. If you're watching on the overlay, I'm rocking my unbrushed, hyper curly Merida out of control hair. But if you're not watching on the video and you're just listening, you have a lot of different options. And I will say, listening to the radio anywhere but Discord sounds a lot better. So pick the place that you like best, whether that is with a video feed or not. You can find us at mspwaves.com or anywhere. I'm a little partial to the Hive blockchain powered solution. So go to Vim. Go check it out on Vim TV, or check out Trovo or Theta if you want blockchain and independent options. And of course, all of the big guys, Twitch and YouTube and all of the places that everybody is far too cool to go. Okay? But I will say, Twitch and YouTube, apparently I'm close to becoming an affiliate on Twitch. And I don't know what that is. I have the right numbers. I have to apply. Somebody said it's to make money. I'm pretty sure if I do that, they'll ban me instantly. So I'm going to float in limbo today. All right, so listen, triggering everyone, doing lots of yelling. We talked a little bit about HBD, and then we kind of moved on and we did some talking about Elon, because whether or not you like Elon, which I am completely indifferent to, Elon has taken over the internet. He's taken over pretty much all of our technology. Elon wants to put his finger in your pie. All of your pies. Do you feel it? Do you feel Elon's finger? So, and also, so here's the deal. Okay, Patient Zero is saying, will it allow it to break the peg? Okay, so we're going back to HBD. The problem with the way that this all works is that at the very start, we put HBD on outside markets. And that is the largest issue with HBD price, because the way that the blockchain knows how much $1 worth of Hive is worth is because I love dudeness, is the blockchain gets told by witnesses what the current price of Hive is. Witnesses have a price feed where they grab all of the prices from outside marketplaces for the price of Hive, right? So they go grab all of those prices, they take a median price, and the blockchain goes, this is the price of Hive. And that's great. That's fine. But HBD is also on an outside marketplace or two. And when HBD is on an outside marketplace, it is bought or sold for any price that anyone on that marketplace wants to pay. The internal market does not care about that external price. And more than anything, that is the most unhealthy dynamic that we have for HBD, because there is never and will never be any peg applied to outside prices for HBD that are not in our internal market. It will never happen. Never happen. Never will. That's a terrible, speaking of terrible memes and bad internet references. So don't cancel me for that. But so the long and the short of it is we're in a weird place now. So before we even kind of go back to that, we're in a strange place because HBD doesn't have very many external exchange listings. And that can be really problematic because we've only opened that door a scooch to the price being controlled and sort of disconnected from the blockchain because of outside marketplaces. But you don't have a lot of options, which also means that there's no way to aggregate those prices and use them as well. It's, I don't want to say HBD is a mess, but there are only two options from here. Take it off outside marketplaces completely, or get more marketplaces. And we have to do one or the other. And as of this far, we have not actually been able to do it, which is kind of a so there. Yeah, so look at you. You're watching a range from anywhere from 93 cents to $1.10. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so before the break, we were yelling about Elon. There's only one large outside marketplace, the US dollar. Yeah, that's fair, because that's really all that HBD will ever be traded against. But I meant, and you know what, marketplace is a bad word. I meant outside exchanges. There are not a whole lot of outside exchange options. But the idea is if HBD is always attempting to be pegged to what $1 US is worth, it should really only ever be traded against $1 US. But are we doing that? Of course not. So don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's probably fine. I don't know why everyone is freaking out about an African man buying a bird. I agree, Ron. What's going on? You know, here's another question that everybody will be mad for me asking, but it is an interesting one. If you have been around since the legacy blockchain days, if you were around during the Steam days, then you will know that without, yes, it shouldn't be traded. It's supposed to be $1. So like I said, these are your options. It shouldn't be traded, but we wrecked it. We wrecked that very early on. And so if you look at Steam, which I know many of you don't want to, but if you look at Steam, you will see what the exact same mechanic does when we are not actively trying to hold the peg by using influence inside the ecosystem, whether that's large amounts of stake, whether that's automated buying and selling, whatever the case may be that we do. And I say internally, it's not the blockchain, it's people involved with the blockchain to help keep that peg for trading and exchanging. If you look at Steam, on the other hand, the Steam-backed dollar, I'm pretty sure it peaked at around $10 for a single one, but it is constantly swanging around. It is never $1. I don't think it's been $1 for years. It's never been. And that is a fascinating comparison, because we can always say, well, what if we did blank on Hive? Or what if we just left it? Well, the reality is Steam still exists as an analog, and we can look at, well, what if we never did the things we were doing now? What would have happened? And we can literally look over at Steam and be like, oh, that. So I'm interested to know if somebody thinks that's the better way. I don't know, because we've already kind of lost a lot of the mechanics that came along with keeping HBD a buck. And now we have to do more work. So do you think people would just be happier? Imagine for a second what would happen if HBD went up to like $6 a pop, and then you're putting HBD in savings and you're earning 20% on HBD. People would be pretty fucking excited to hold on to HBD, don't you think? They'd want to buy it. Absolutely. They'd want to hold it. They'd want to get it any way they could. Not just from posting. They would want to get it any way they could so they could earn more. And inherently, the most natural thing to happen out of that scenario would be, I want to buy it for whatever price it's at, and I want to sell it higher after I hold it, earn interest. In fact, I want to sell all my interest higher. It naturally forces people's behavior into a pattern that will drive the price of HBD up. Interesting and scary. But sustainability, not always the thing we care about. Okay, so what do you guys want to talk, right? There'd be no point for HBD if you just trade it like any other coin. Well, don't say that. People might hear you, Blue. It's almost like without a pegging mechanism, if we don't have a good plan to keep it as close to a buck as possible, we may as well just give up on it. You know what? And that's, cynicism aside, I think where we're at now is actually functioning pretty well. But the important part... The important part that we have to remember is, if we want it to continue functioning well, if we want it to have this percentage, we now have 20%. Do you think that was you? You think you did that? Okay, sure thing. But I do think that discussion around the community absolutely helped. There's no doubt. But just watching sort of the... discussion between consensus witnesses and whatnot. I think a lot of people are just saying, listen, we got out of, ICO summer, we went through winter, and now it is DeFi summer. A winter is coming and the next new thing will be something else. So we're always kind of trying to look, because we have this blockchain that can do a lot. It can do most things, and it can do them very well. But we are often always trying to run behind everybody else, pointing out all of the things it can do. Hey, you guys, you have that thing and it's not really working, but we can do that. We're back here. Come here. But we're always a little bit behind what we need to be talking about. And that is the biggest problem that Hive needs to surmount. And I don't know how to do that. If we did, we'd probably be in a slightly different situation. It's fascinating. There's probably some insight out there that we could learn from. And I suspect a lot of it has to do with just absolute rampant, useless hype. So, if any of you want to become besties with Elon and use Hive to create a better Twitter, you'd be doing us all a favor, right? Okay, so since we're halfway through the show and more, we could probably kind of do a quick recap and, but the general disappointment with the United States, yeah, maybe. I don't doubt it. I mean, I can certainly say that you and many others have been discussing your disappointment with HBD for a long time. Clay's actually had a lot of opinions on it. There's many people around the ecosystem who have been like, why do we have this thing if we're not going to use this thing to do the thing that the thing is supposed to do? And that's a pretty good question to ask yourself in any pursuit. But it's probably a good time. It's probably a good time to move on and talk about some other stuff. So I'm open to what you guys want to discuss, or if you want, we could talk a little bit about going into future topics, because I know there's been a lot of suggestions. I've been getting a lot of DMs recently about stuff you guys want to talk about, and the one that has come up about 6 times is people really want to talk about this Hive movie. People really want to discuss a movie about Hive. And it's been interesting because obviously there is something in the works there. I think there are 2 separate versions, one being a more grounded documentary and one being a sort of, I guess they want to do a more like, what was the terrible movie with the curly-headed fuck from NSYNC? Boy, they made a movie about Facebook. And it had, I don't even know his name. God, what's his name? Help, guys, help. He has terrible curly hair and he dated Britney Spears. Oh my God, I lived in the 2000s and I've never left the 2000s. There was I'm waiting for chat. Idiocracy. Yes, that guy. This guy. Thank you, Arjun. You are not a curly-headed fuck, by the way. So cheers. Timberlake, Justin Timberlake. Thank you, chat. The curly-headed fuck. Do you guys remember back when he had like the terrible bleach blonde pubic hair on his head? He grew into it. Like most men, he got hotter as he aged. He's not my cup of tea, but he figured out how to get rid of the curls, and that went a long way. So do you guys remember they made a movie about Facebook, and he was in it, and it was not a documentary by any stretch. They made a Hollywood-style movie about Facebook. So right now, about the Hive blockchain, there are 2, not 1, but look at his head. It's like ramen on his head. It's like if you had pubic hair that was ramen noodles and then you put it on someone's head. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just, oh God, why? The 2000s were awful. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it. Hive has got not 1, but 2 movies, and one apparently is going to be more of a documentary, and one is apparently suggested to be more of an actual entertainment movie. And so people have been messaging me nonstop. And I've got a call set up with the people who are working on the movie. Many of the people around the ecosystem have been discussing it. I'm unsure how I feel about this because, one of the things that we've talked about over and over and over again when it comes to Hive is, do people care about this story? Is there something here that inherently should speak to everyone? And we know, because we stuck around, most of us, that it was the community. And, regardless of how this all played out, people want to talk about, well, the community wanted to stay together and the community did not want to be told what to do. So the community said, fuck you, and we're going to go build our own community with hookers and blow. And that's, the very, very, very abridged version of how the Hive blockchain came about. The people here weren't as flexible as they could have been. They were rightly concerned about Justin Sun and his fuckery and antics. Many, many, many bizarre illegal things ensued. A lot of stakeholders got completely fucked over. Much, much money was stolen, and everybody picked up and said, we are peacing the fuck out. And it's been a good thing. You would think that there are some aspects to this story that could be pretty damn entertaining. And there are probably some aspects to this story that even if you were not wildly interested in blockchain, and even if you were not crucially interested in Hive, there are some aspects to the story that you could probably be interested in. So I'm kind of curious to see, for those of you who are listening right now, which one would you think would work better? Do you want to see a more sort of Hollywoodified script? Do you want to see more of an entertainment story, maybe taking a little bit more liberty? Or do you want to see like a traditional documentary that really breaks down what happened? Because apparently both are possibilities and both are potentially in the works right now. I don't know. I'd like to know your opinion. Yes, His Excellency, Justin Sun. You know, it's so funny because I don't know that people outside of like Hive, I don't think anybody else pays a lot of Justin Sun attention anymore. I think most of the crypto space truly does not care about him at all. But we see him being an idiot. The people around Hive see him being an idiot and we're like, oh my God, he's doing it again. And we might be the only ones who care. Oh, lordy, lordy. But he is His Excellency now. If you didn't hear this, His Excellency, he is his jam. Yeah, so do both. Yeah, you could. I'm just curious to know which one you're more interested in. He became, oh God, another level. It's going to be a disaster. Shot number 3. It's probably fine. I'm probably fine. Things are definitely not going to get weirder and weirder as we go. We've only got half an hour. I'll probably be okay. I won't fall down before it's over. All right. So you want to see something more educational? Okay. A documentary. All right. God. Party Ogre wants to see a found footage horror Hive movie. That would solely be Ned playing his guitar. It would be, we would all be trapped in purgatory watching Ned basically fumbling through a live stream forever. That would be the found footage horror movie. Would just be Ned live streams. We would have to watch them forever. It would be the worst thing that ever happened. Groff. Oh gosh. But so no, what I was going to say is if you missed this, and you probably did, and I'm good for you if you did, Justin Sun is now officially His Excellency, and Patient Zero actually grabbed this right off the bat. Whoop, sorry. Patient Zero grabbed this. He went to Grenada, and he has become their representative for crypto. And now I'm pretty sure he just went there so he can evade the law, and also so you now are forced to call him His Excellency. Don't even know. God. No, that would be the guy sucking himself off. Oh yeah, gosh. You know, there are a lot of cringe things committed to the blockchain. You're thinking of good old Jerry Banfield. Okay, so if we put together a Hive found footage horror movie, who would be in it? We have Jerry Banfield. We have Justin Sun. We have Ned strumming his guitar. I am sure we've got some fucking cringy ass moments that we could create a found footage festival off of Hive. Now I'm interested. This should absolutely take off. Just a compilation of all the absolute worst things that are fully committed to the blockchain for life. Oh my God. Let's do this. Let's make a third movie. CyberBuzz will fund this. Absolutely. Yeah, the only thing that really everybody on Steam only had one thing that brought them together, and it was how much everyone hated Ned. Although, you know, it's funny you say that, Party Ogre, because being around Steam long enough, people only hated Ned in secret. And Ned's employees hated Ned, but like on the blockchain, if Ned posted, everybody wanted to suck his dick. everybody in Discord was like, oh, Ned, pay attention. Like, and I do remember going to Steamfest. When I went to Steamfest in Poland, people were 1,000% falling all over themselves to go talk to Ned. And it's something. It's something else. Yeah, we do. We have a lot of memories. We do. As a community, we have a lot of memories. So if nothing else, God, Hive was created to never let these moments die. These ridiculous, ridiculous moments. Okay, here's the question. I don't want to turn my entire show into anything about Jerry Banfield. But, we were talking about Elon earlier, and I was saying, listen, I truly, fully believe that in most cases, Elon is fucking with everyone. Everything's a joke, and he's a little bit evil on the inside and smart enough to take advantage of that. Jerry Banfield. I don't want to call Jerry Banfield smart, but I truly and fully believe that he is mindfully doing the most ridiculous, cringeworthy, shitty things that he can think of to get notoriety for being hated. Do you guys agree? Or do you think he is just truly fucking clueless and that he's so clueless that he ends up notoriously hated? Because I believe this is purposeful. I don't think he's smart, but I think that he believes that all attention is good attention, and the easiest attention to get is by looking at what makes people mad and then emulating that. So, he got kicked off one thing, got kicked off another thing, got kicked off another thing. Well, he saw the people were getting he saw, what's his face? Rachel Dolezal or whoever, this whole new thing about identifying as another race or whatever. Yeah. I think he's just like, wow, well, look at the attention they got. That's easy, man. I can say, I believe I'm a black man. Yeah, let's do it. I think he truly just doesn't feel bad about anything. And I think that gives him a superpower, which is wild. Thanos. Okay, so you're not just Thanos, you're Theta Thanos. Are you going to snap me out of existence? Please don't do that. I promise next show will be better. Don't erase me. But hey, welcome. Happy to have you. We're just talking about Jerry Banfield because today, we were going to talk about important things today. We were going to talk about HBD and Twitter, and we sort of did, and now we're just off the rails and we're yelling about Jerry Banfield. So Jerry Banfield, I think he's mentally incapable of understanding his own negative actions. I think that he just... What would be the little thing inside you? Would it be shame? Would it be fear? What would be the one thing that you would have to turn off to no longer care about what other people thought of you? Because that's sort of a thing. We have, on the inside, we all have a varying degree. We have a little inside voice that says, listen, maybe you don't care what that person thinks of you. But at the same time, we're going to walk through the supermarket today and we're going to have a good day. We're not going to actively try to make people mad at us either, right? That's a general gist. You don't have to be a sheep. You don't have to go along with what you're told. But overall, you want to function amongst other people. We don't have to get along. We don't have to fight. But on a day-to-day basis, you don't look at someone in the supermarket and you're like, I'm going to make you mad. I'm going to make you so mad that you freak out. And then I'm going to freak out. We're going to have today's going to be an altercation. Most people don't have that thing. Oh, man. Yeah. So turning that thing off isn't a bad thing. Basically exactly what I just said. Thank you, Clay. I'm just saying, for the most part, to function as a person day to day, you don't really want to get into too much shit if you don't have to get into too much shit. Most people are not actively trying to aggravate other people. And if you are, it's usually because you have a message. They're aggravating you. There's usually a call and a response. No one is calling Jerry Banfield. There is a call. There is a response. There is an action. There is an equal reaction. No one is calling Jerry Banfield. No one is acting upon Jerry Banfield. Literally no one wants Jerry Banfield. And yet, what is it? And nevertheless, he persisted. It's actually kind of amazing. It's kind of fascinating. It's almost something I want to learn from. And in most ways, I would just like to burn it down. It's fascinating. I don't know. So Mr. D says morality. That's the thing he's just turning off. That's true. I don't think he has a strong set of morals. Absolutely not. Gonna agree with you on that. Drop the Mic says he has mental issues. You know, I feel like that's low-hanging fruit because there are a lot of mental issues out there and lots of people function day to day and aren't like Barry Janfield. Good old Barry Janfield over there. Yeah, okay, maybe the shots are kicking in. Good old Jerry Janfield. I don't know. I don't think I want to give him that out. I think that's a pretty lame out. Junkowski says you don't even know who the guy is. Good for you. But you're gonna. If we go through with making this Hive found footage fest, if we make a horror movie solely compiled with cringy ass people who have been in or around the Hive blockchain, Jerry Banfield's one of them. But a quick hi First Amendment. You guilt jumped in. A quick description of Jerry Banfield. He's been kicked off every internet monetization platform ever, and he's been through them all. What's the one? Udemy, or any of the ones where you teach courses. He has this weird marketing thing. He'll charge you like $200 an hour just to talk to you on the phone. He's gone through Steam, he's gone through Hive, he's gone through Facebook gaming, he's gone through... If there is a platform on the internet where you have the potential to earn money, Jerry Banfield's been there. And I mean, many of us out in this world today have been on a similar struggle. It's what brought many people to Steam and then also to Hive, right? You're looking for a better way. You're looking for a place where you can consume content, create content. Everybody's looking for a way to get in or out of crypto, or looking for a way to make income that is not a traditional desk job, because fuck that shit, right? Well, that's what he does, except he's so bizarre. He's so bizarre that no matter where he goes, he gets kicked off and deplatformed because he is and acts so inappropriately. It is amazing. So yes, Facebook cut ties with white streamer after he claims to identify as black. That's good old Jerry Banfield. So if you didn't know, when we talk about the Jerry Banfield on Hive era, he made a video of himself talking specifically and graphically and for so long about trying to pleasure himself with his mouth. And he talked about how he hurt his back, how he's covered in scar tissue, how this was like his obsession. He would spend hours doing this. He literally would describe how he tried to bend himself into a little human donut and just go to town. Why would you do that? You may ask. Why would you put that on the internet? Why would you put that on Hive? You may ask. And the answer is, no one knows. So that's Jerry in a nutshell. Every platform he goes to, he says something inherently that makes everybody in the world go, what the fuck? And hang up the phone. So if you need to know, there's your backstory. Why? So Jerry would definitely be in our cringe compilation. 1,000% he would be. No questions asked. Let's quickly play a track, because at this point the show is about nothing. And we're just, I would argue that this is not even a show anymore. It's a good chat between friends about weird shit, and that's usually what most of them, he just wants attention, he don't want your heart. Ain't that the truth? So let's play a quick track, because there's just a lot happening here. Because he needs to advertise how pathetic he is so a woman might sympathize with him and help him out. No! First Amendment. He's married. He has children. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm sorry. Hey, Anti-Commie Blood, good to see you. So all the old names are coming out of the woodwork. We're having a time today. Today was supposed to be an educational show, and it's been anything but. Lots of yelling, Elon is Lex Luthor. HBD is confusing. How did I get here? Who put this pudding in my pants? Hashtag Jerry Banfield. Hashtag not black. So let's try to rescue some semblance of CyberBuzz. But I hope you guys are entertained, and it seems like at least some of you are. So let's continue on. I mean, I'm going to play some Synthwave. I told you guys this is a Synthwave. Yep, exactly. Everyone's nuts. This is a Synthwave show, and I do like sharing Synthwave with you. So we've already played, we have played some Kavinsky, I've played some Free Weights, I played some Wave Shaper. Now would be a good time. I'm going to play you guys a track called *ｔhિs by Makeup and Vanity Set, and then we will come back, and we will probably drop the new Midnight before the end of the show, maybe 1 or 2 more tracks, and then we'll go. How dare I invalidate his experience? Hashtag so sorry. All right, let's do this. It's Makeup and Vanity Set. My name is Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz Radio. You know what? I don't even know what I'm going to call it. This is CyberBuzz The Experience, because it's definitely not radio anymore. All right, there you go. Makeup and Vanity said, my name is Crimson Clad, and throughout the course of the show, we've just, I don't even know what it is anymore, but we started off, we were going to discuss HBD a little bit, and we sort of did. And I mean, there's some really great aspects of trying to look at putting a competitive APR on our stablecoin, stable-ish coin, stable sort of coin. And that's great. And so that's been an exciting thing. And for a lot of people inside the ecosystem, this is the first time that they've really been able to dive in and explore and feel a part of what is going on in DeFi right now. So A++, we talked a little bit about some of the mechanics in terms of how HBD relates to print ratio, debt ratio, where debt ratio stops printing, the haircut rule, and of course, how increasing the option to earn that 20% APR, how by increasing that, we're actually changing the way that people look at and use HBD, which is good and bad, but also that we do have to kind of consider what happens when we change people's behavior. And that mostly just turned into yelling because that's how the internet works. Then we moved on and we thought, okay, well, Elon and Twitter, because Twitter and Elon and Twitter is basically what runs the internet right now. But I don't know enough about Elon, and I'm not particularly interested in him. But at the same time, it is always interesting and important to take a look at whether we like it or not. The medium is the message, and Twitter has an incredibly powerful impact on the way most of us, even if we don't use Twitter has an incredibly powerful impact on the way we get information from around the internet. You don't have to like it. It doesn't make it less true. So we talked a little bit about, is Elon serious? Is he not serious? Is he, is he playing a big game? Is Elon Batman or Tony Stark? Or I believe he's Lex Luthor. So it's because he's African American. It's true. It is. I mean, you guys are inherently seeing my racist bias now. It's coming out. And then after that, then we just started yelling about Hive, yelling about making movies about Hive, yelling about making a horror movie all out of found footage of cringy people from around Hive or cringy situations that we've been in. And somehow we just, Elon Musk is the Joker. Yeah, some men just want to watch the world burn. You know what? I don't think so. I don't think he is a true chaotic evil. I don't think so. I mean, if anything, he's probably like a lawful evil, maybe, sort of. I mean, it is. But so, yeah, I mean, however you feel about it, the best thing right now is that Twitter board and Twitter management is getting roasted on Twitter. And that's fantastic because a lot of the struggles that we've talked about, traditional legacy social media on this show, a lot of the reasons that we've all ended up on Hive or whatever, wherever you are, Theta or watching on Vim or checking out Trovo, is because the big social media, whether it is streaming, hi Theta Dog, speaking of, you're here for a reason. You're here. You came here for a reason. And a lot of that is a rejection of legacy social media, legacy content sharing. It is interesting to see the things we hate, the things that we hate about Twitter coming to the forefront of this argument. However you feel about Elon, everybody is finally saying their piece. And obviously, Twitter has not been free speech for a long time. And it's very interesting to see the shifting popular opinion because, of course, when Trump was tweeting, it was, he's bad. Twitter should block his tweets. They're dangerous. He's a bad man. And now, of course, it's like, everybody's like, yeah, free speech. Yeah. It's fascinating to see the sentiment changing on the wind. I get some fist pump emojis over on Theta. So it's interesting. And I think whether or not, it's of an interest to me, it is kind of an important aspect to talk about on this show sometimes. And so we started talking about whether Elon actually gives a shit or not, whether this is all about money, whether he does have a vaguely passing interest in free speech, or whether just this seems like the new hotness that he can get everybody talking on Twitter about. And then he'll just move on to the next thing because he gets bored really quickly because he's smart. So he goes, well, let me stir the anthill a little bit. Okay, that was fun. Now what? So, yeah, I don't think he's a 3-speech guy. I agree. So it's going to be really, really interesting, I think, basically. And so we talked about that because we kind of had to. And so now we're in the ass end of the show. We've only got about 15 minutes left, and we don't necessarily have a lot to talk about. So, of course, we can always open it up to about things that you guys want to talk about for the rest of the day. Or we can just play a little bit more music. But one thing that I did want to say is if you are watching the video feed, you may have noticed that the dogs are in here with me. So if you look here, maybe you aren't, but if you are, you will see Lulu the dog is here. Hi, Lulu. And you will see Murphy the dog is there. Hi, Murphy. And Lulu chooses to be up here. And if you're watching while the show was on and while the music was playing, I was giving her pets. Now, if you've hung around long enough, you will know Lulu is my newest adoption. And I brought her in from Iran. She came from Iran, and she's been one of the more difficult rescue dogs that I have worked with. I just want to throw it out there. If you were watching during the music and I was like petting her, she is way more comfortable than she used to be. She chooses to come up in here and hang out with me. She lays down, she sleeps, she asks me for pets now. Her tail wags more. We're not quite 1 year in. I think by the 1 year mark, she's going to be pretty close to a normal dog. And that feels really, really good. So for a lot of people, you guys actually being here, listening to the radio, watching the live stream, wherever, whatever, you guys have seen more of her transformation than most people I know in real life. Because of course, the last couple years have been riddled with COVID, kind of like me. And so it's really fascinating and it's really awesome to be able to kind of share this with you because, you know, if you remember at the start of this journey, not quite a year ago, the way that her behavior was, the way that her comfort levels was, the way that she felt and everything else was pretty different. It's pretty different. So it's really cool to kind of have this play out over the history and the arc of live shows with you guys. Okay, so with that, I'm kind of opening it up. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, then we can do that. I just saw a DM pop up, and I will say, it mentions that they would like me to move the logo on the overlay because in the music overlay, you can see all of my top half. And in the chat overlay, the logo covers too much of me. All right. Good feedback. That's why I ask the tough questions here on CyberBuzz. I'm actually embarrassed. Well done. You actually managed to shake me a little bit. Okay, so can we talk about turtles? I like turtles. Yes. You know, one of the things that's very interesting, I'll throw this out there as a crypto lover and a turtle lover. So crypto, and when we talk about often on the show, is we talk about having a legacy plan for your crypto. You know, and it's a topic we haven't talked about in a while, but a topic that came up often at the start of this show was we talked about legacy planning for your crypto. What happens when you die? You know? Why, what do you do when you die? Like, have you thought about how you're going to pass on your keys, your crypto? You don't want to give them out right away. Like, what are the things that are going to happen for your crypto to pass down? Because we talk about, well, Bitcoin is generational wealth, or, crypto is sound money. This can't be inflated out from under you. It's a way to hold on to the value that you have and keep it out of the hands of, predatory governments or whatever. So we talk about legacy planning. And I swear this is related to turtles. So my dad, when he was very young, he and his family would always go to a place in Canada. Canada has one desert. It has exactly one desert, and that desert is called Soyuz. And my dad used to go there when he was very young. Since basically when he was born, they would go every year on a family vacation to this place called Soyuz. And the reason this is relevant is because Clay's talking about turtles and I'm talking about legacy planning. When he was really, really young, there were a bunch of little lakes. This desert is around a lake. And there were ponds around the lake. He would go swimming in them. And when he was really young, about 6 years old, he caught a turtle in this pond. And he caught this turtle and he brought it home, which you could never do today. Terrible idea. But listen, the 50s were a different time. He caught this turtle and he brought it home. And that turtle has been his pet. And actually, now that area has been fully developed. That pond is gone. But that turtle still lives with my dad. And the other day I went over to visit my parents and my dad sat me down and asked me if when he dies, will I take the turtle? Because this thing is so long-lived. And when he caught it, it was just a little tiny thing. And now my dad is obviously going into, not his later years, but he's had the turtle for approximately 50... He's had the turtle for about 54 years. So we know the turtle is at least 54 years old. And so he is now legacy planning for this turtle because it doesn't look like he's going to go anytime soon. So there you go, Clay. Yes, we could talk about turtles. I always grew up with turtles for pet. I've always grown up with the same turtle that my dad loves. And when my dad passes on, I will have this turtle as well. And potentially, maybe the turtle could outlive me even. Do you even accept a pet that has that low of a snoot to body ratio? Let me tell you something, Blue. There are turtles out there, soft-shell turtles, have the best snoots you will ever see. Just in case you didn't know, let me talk about soft-shell turtle noses. I'm going to find this for you guys because if you've never seen this, they are great. If you want a turtle with a snoot, you need to look up soft-shell turtles. They have got more snoot than any doggo you've ever seen. But one thing that I will tell you, as somebody who is, as a child, grew up around turtles, what you don't necessarily realize is turtles don't have teeth, or at least not regular lake turtles. Maybe tortoises do. Turtles don't have teeth the way that we think of teeth. They have, their mouth is a sharp ridge of cartilage that is like a fucking knife. And as a child growing up feeding worms and bugs and shit to this turtle, I learned very quickly that because, yes, who learns a pet that can munch your finger off in an instant? I learned very quickly that, turtles can literally carve chunks of flesh from your body because they have knife faces. And in fact, they don't, like a cigar cutter? That's what a turtle mouth is. And when you're a little kid and you have a tasty, pink, chubby little finger and you're like, have this worm, you're going to lose fucking skin. So that's what you need to know. Clay, the next time you go out to see Myrtle, don't get your fingers too close. Yes, Osoyoos is amazing, Groff. And actually, there's a beautiful, beautiful lake on the way outside of Osoyoos. It's called the Spotted Lake. And there is this incredible, incredible thing that happens where the minerals in the lake form this sort of foam. And it sits on top of the lake and creates a polka dot, a natural polka dot pattern. Osoyoos is insanely beautiful. If you ever come to BC, you must go there. It's wine country. It's desert country. It's rattlesnakes and dusty foothills, and it's lush beaches and incredible wildlife, and highly recommended. But yeah, turtles are great. Turtles are friends, but they will cut a bitch if they have to. And for those of you who are watching, let's quickly see if I can pull this up. So here we go. Soft-shell turtles, just for those of you who are watching the video feed, the snoot ratio of a soft-shell turtle. I want to open up, let's just look at this picture for you. Open image in new tab. Oh, it's so tiny. Can we blow it up? Let's blow this up. I want you to see this, those of you who are watching. Look at the snoot to neck to pancake back ratio of this turtle. If you are ever questioning, now you know. Okay? Snoot. Okay, guys, so we're almost to the end of the show because we have been yip-yapping about turtles. Yes, there's the Spotted Lake. It's absolutely insanely beautiful. So, While we're talking about turtles, it is a good place just before the show ends to drop in the very last new midnight track. And it's fucking awesome. So let's get that up here. They did a surprise drop, and most of the tracks that I've been playing for you today are new, but it's a good place to throw in this one because arguably it's some of the best and the most classic synthwave around. Maybe even a little bit tropey, but you gotta love it. The track is literally called Change Your Heart or Die. Listen, I'm not telling you that this is what we need to do right now. I'm not saying that that is the tagline for wherever you are at this minute, but it is. Change your heart or die.
Took a lot of money to look the part. Took a lot of pain to tame a heart. Took a lot of years to lose my fear of flying. Took a long time to finally start. Then it took a good day to fall apart. Took a lot of tears to lose my fear of crying. Of crying. Change your heart or die.
All right, there you go. Perfect track to end the show on because, of course, Crim, oh my God, not everything has to be metal. It's so heavy. It's so scary. Crim, this music is way too lame. Oh, it's so bleh. It's to the 80s. It's gay. Crim, I don't like that. Crim, I don't like that. Well, listen, you keep showing up. Get you a girl who can do it all. Okay? Fair enough. All right, so today we... Ron, your music is too twangy. I've never said that. Yeah, I know who Eskimo Cowboy is. And I've played Electric Cowboys Hyper. And I actually, last week, I almost on Full Force Radio, I actually almost played Spaceman, which is the new... It's bad. It's really bad. But if you're looking for a new annoying earworm that will make you miserable and wreck your taste in metal, then it's this one, Electric Cowboy Spaceman. Brand new release. But with that being said, I got to keep an eye on the time. We're almost done. Today's CyberBuzz was useless. The idea was, well, we're going to talk about HBD and we're going to get into that and we're going to have a serious talk about it. We ended up yelling a lot about print ratio and debt ratio and haircut and APR and APY, and we didn't really talk about anything interesting, but we had a lot of fun. We talked about Elon and Twitter. We yelled about turtles. We talked about making Hive movies and potentially making a found footage festival of all the cringiest shit and turning it into a horror movie. It was an interesting show. Next week, we'll try and get back to the regular vibe, but for now, my friends, I hate to tell you, CyberBuzz is all over. I'll see you next week. Bye, New Theta and Trovo fans! And bye, everyone else. I love you. Smash a button. I'm supposed to say that. You guys are riding on me for not monetizing my channels. Are you on YouTube right now? Click like. Like all the videos. You want to sass me about it? Step up.